Ok, legal, tá bom, normal.
Não ter potência para fazer uma ultrapassagem segura não é legal. Mude para um Raval H6, o híbrido que conquistou o Brasil. E tem até 393 cavalos de potência e 77,7 quilos de torque. Raval H6, a linha SUV eletrificada mais completa do país. GWM, Hello Tomorrow. Paz no trânsito começa por você.
Today on CityCast Philly. Y'all know that iconic song. It's the Rocky theme, and it's synonymous with Philly's fighter spirit. Now there's a festival to celebrate it all. I'm speaking with Catherine Ott-Level, President and CEO of Philadelphia Visitor Center Corporation, who's behind the first ever Rocky Fest. 8 days of fun, from a bus tour, yappy hour, to date night ideas and a movie marathon. It's Tuesday, November 26th. I'm Trinae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Catherine, it's kind of like an inside joke among Philadelphians that we all know that Rocky is a fictional character, and we love his story, but his legacy is often, really real for out-of-towners, right?
It so is, yeah. I think sometimes as Philadelphians, we eschew things connected to Rocky, right? Like we sort of say, oh, we're so much more than this, right? People always think about Rocky and cheesesteaks when they think about Philly. But I think that, the whole story of Rocky, it's really more than a film. To me, it's like an allegory, it's a myth at this point that, it really exemplifies our spirit as Philadelphians. I think it's that underdog spirit. It's that grit and resiliency and just determination and passion, right? With a little bit of humor and a little bit of love too, and I
For
think
sure.
that really exemplifies our spirit as Philadelphians. And I think there's a little bit of Rocky in all of us.
Oh, I like that. Well, why do non-Philadelphians love him too?
Well, for most folks and we have so many people that come to Philadelphia because of Rocky, that first in and of itself is like something we as Philadelphians have to wrap our heads around. It's really the way people are introduced to Philadelphia internationally, right? For many people, especially folks, who are coming from whether it's Europe or the Middle East or Asia or South America, this is how they hear about Philadelphia for the first time. It's because they've watched these iconic films. And, the original Rocky is almost 50 years old. We'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of Rocky the same year we're celebrating the semi-quincentennial anniversary of our country in 2026. And even though it's 50 years old, it's amazing how the story still resonates with people and how beloved this film is and how many people still watch it really as a rite of passage. People watching it with their children and rewatching it. Some people watch it certain days of the year. Thanksgiving, that's the day they watch the Rocky film or whatever. And it's become this brand and this myth that people just associate with Philadelphia. And as the Rocky films progress, you can see the trajectory of Philadelphia, the story of Philadelphia that's told through the years, leading all the way up to the Creed movies, which is really, made Rocky even cooler again, if that's
For sure.
possible.
Is it true that more out-of-towners visit the Rocky Steps than the Liberty Bell?
Well, I mean, again, the counts for all of these attractions are sort of fluid because they're public spaces, right? So, National Park Service has a count of how many people come to the Liberty Bell. They do that through a lot of different metrics and algorithms that they use to try and figure out how many people come to a public space. Their number is between 3 and 4 million people annually. We think at least that many are coming to the Rocky Steps. Certainly visitors coming from out of town. I mean, as Philadelphians, personally, I've never, ever driven or walked by the Rocky statue. Morning, noon, night, it could be 2:00 in the morning when there haven't been people outside getting their picture there. Like,
Right.
it's never happened. I've never seen it empty, which
Same.
is so nutty. And then just the Rocky Steps themselves, it's a mecca for folks, right? People who, whether you're participating in a walk or a run, or you're coming to the Welcome America concert, right? You're gonna see those steps. You're gonna run up those steps, and we have some data that we track people using cell phone data. We have a software that helps us do that. Where we can see that there's a percentage of people who are coming to the Rocky steps and the Rocky statue either right from the airport or going right to the airport.
No way.
Which in my mind means that, like, if I'm here on like a 5, 6, 7 hour layover, I'm choosing to visit one place, I'm getting in an Uber and I'm running those steps, and then I'm going back to catch my flight, which is a little crazy. Or it's people's last thing that they do, once they're here. They're here for a conference, and before I leave, I'm going to run those steps. Everybody wants that experience of running those steps, just like Rocky did.
Catherine, I did the Rocky Steps when I was pregnant.
Oh, that is impressive. That is impressive.
I got to find that picture somewhere. But you know what? I wish there actually was maybe like permanently set up. I wish there was like a good cheesesteak spot, like right next to the Rocky statue. I think that would just be like the icing on the cake. But
that would be amazing. And it would really make things convenient for
Right.
visitors because that's definitely the number 2 thing that they do. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So for those of us who know the Rocky series, I mean, how do you plan on engaging with Philadelphians with this whole Rocky theme?
Yeah, so we started this Rocky Day last year because we opened a visitor center at the base of the steps, right? And it's just these 2 storage containers that are sort of sewn together. It's really beautiful inside.
It's like a retail shop, too.
It's a store. We're the only bricks and mortar location in the country that sells Sylvester Stallone's branded merchandise. So we have some mostly Rocky merchandise, but also some Rambo thrown in. And then we have some really cool Philly themed merchandise. And so we have a retail shop, but then we also have this visitor center. It's all one little shop, and we're providing maps to folks, and we can sell tickets to attractions, and we can give people information about how to get from point A to point B. But we're also selling really great Rocky merch. And when we first were ready to cut the ribbon and open the Parkway Visitor Center and Rocky Shop, we heard that Sylvester Stallone was going to come for that. And so we were so excited that we asked City Council to name December 3rd Rocky Day. December 3rd is the day, 1976, when the Rocky film was premiered nationally.
Wow.
So we had that named Rocky Day. And because we had so many people come to Rocky Day last year, thousands of people in the pouring rain, it was like a hurricane that day, that we decided, wow, we really need to make this longer next year. And we need to actually plan some really cool Rocky themed events around it. And so we worked with a committee of folks from all different organizations throughout the city, Visit Philadelphia and the CVB and the Art Museum and Mural Arts. A whole bunch of folks got together over the last year, and we started planning, what we call Rocky Fest. And it's just December 3rd through the 8th. We have a bunch of different activities, fun events that are happening around the city for Rocky fans, for visitors, for Philly people, people throughout the region who just love Rocky, want something fun to do around the holidays. This is your chance. We have just a really incredible lineup of never done before events around Rocky.
Okay, so 8 days of events. Give us a rundown of what's planned.
We have the Rocky bus tour. This is the first publicly available Rocky bus tour. It's going to run 2 times a day throughout the week. And on this tour, you will see a dozen sites that were filming locations in the Rocky films. So you're going to go see Laurel Hill Cemetery, where there's still a fake or faux, if you will, grave of Adrian and Paulie, where they were buried when they passed away in the last film. You will go see Rocky and Adrian's home. We'll go see places where they had their dates. We're going to go see the Italian market, of course. And the tours are going to begin and end at the Rocky Shop and the Rocky Steps. We're going to head all the way up to North Philly to see Mick's Gym. These are not places that people, can necessarily know how to get to on their own.
Right.
And so we basically curated this tour, and we're going to take folks. It's 90 minutes. So it's not, people watch the film if you don't know Philly and you think, oh, when Rocky did that run,
right.
Just like,
it happened in like 5 minutes.
It's a straight line. It wasn't. I mean, to do that run, it would take you 3 days, but so he goes all over the city, but that's what the tour does. It actually goes all over the city. There's going to be professional tour guides on there. there narrating and giving you lots of great information, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't already get. So it's going to be a really great tour. Then we have two really fun events. One is Rocky Date Nights. So this is two events. One at the Penn Ice Rink. So where Rocky and Adrian had their first date. Remember, they went ice skating.
Yes. It's a beautiful love story.
Right, they were there. He got the rink opened. The Penn rink. There, it's questionable whether or not any of the movie was actually filmed there. But if you've not been to Penn's 1923 class of 1923 rink on Walnut Street, it looks like it came right out the movie. I mean, it's a very 1970s structure. We're going to have food trucks and live new DJ, and we're going to have a Rocky and Adrian lookalike contest. And this is
I
for,
love that.
bring your girlfriend or your boyfriend, right? Bring your significant other. But also, it's a great first date. Like, what a great first date story. So if you're just newly dating someone or you're interested in someone, bring them out to this. It also doesn't have to be a date, right? You don't have to. You can bring your girlfriends, bring your guy friends, and meet somebody that night. And also, of course, open to anybody who wants to come. So,
Look at this. Rocky Fest making connections. I love
right?
it.
Yeah, we're going to have actually speed dating skating. So you've heard of
Speed
speed
dating
dating.
skate. Oh my gosh.
Speed dating on skates. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We also have a Rocky date night at the zoo, which is where Rocky and Adrian got engaged, if you remember, in front of
Yeah.
the lions and tigers. So we'll have fun activations as part of the zoo's Luminature event. We are going to have a Rocky movie marathon with the Philadelphia Film Society at the Philadelphia Film Center on Chestnut Street. You will be able to see all the Rocky films. You can buy a bundle package where you just sit and watch all the Rocky films for like 13 hours. Or you can just go see one. It's up to you. We're going to have Rocky U, which is like a seminar with Dr. Paul Farber, who is like a Rocky expert, did the Statue podcast with WHYY.
Yeah.
Dr. Farber is going to be doing a great seminar on the history of the Rocky statue, and you'll get a Rocky U certificate at the end. And then we have partnering with the Philadelphia Kennel Club, the National Dog Show, and also our local ACCT. We're having a South Paws Yappy Hour at the docks at the Cherry Street Pier. So this is where you bring your furry friend with you, bring your dog, your pet, and we're going to have an impuppinator. So a Buckus from the movie, which was Rocky's dog. We'll have a bull mastiff who will be impersonating Buckus. And you'll be able to get your picture with Buckus and just enjoy some time out with your pets right there at the Cherry Street Pier.
Catherine, I love the variety of events here. And we're going to keep this energy going. When we come back, I want to learn more about why Rocky is just so special to Philly. Catherine, there's all of the movies, the statue, retail shop. There's a 5K run, and now a festival. Is there ever too much Rocky?
I mean, is there ever too much happiness? No, I don't think there's a point of oversaturation of Rocky. I think that, it is such a timeless story. And, this idea of film tourism is really becoming a national and international phenomenon. People want to go to cities and to locations where their favorite films were shot, and they want to sort of experience that for themselves. And, just experiencing where the Rocky filming happened gives you a really good taste of the diversity of our city, how much our city has changed since the Rocky movie was filmed. When you watch the original Rocky movie, our city was really gritty. We complain a lot about our city now, but it has improved so much in terms of just the aesthetics and the cleanliness, and, just the beauty of our city has improved so much since over the last 50 years. So I think there's so much to still be appreciated. And, for me personally, there's never enough Rocky.
Catherine, what's your earliest memory of the Italian Stallion?
Well, you know what's funny? I grew up in Mayfair in Northeast Philadelphia. And from a very young age, I heard that Sylvester Stallone lived there, right? Like he lived in Northeast Philadelphia. And I always heard this rumor that he went to school at the public high school in my neighborhood, Abraham Lincoln High School. And he actually did. Like, that's actually a true story that he spent some time at Lincoln. I don't know if he actually ever graduated from there, but I heard about him, Sylvester Stallone, as a very young girl growing up in the Northeast, because he was sort of a legend, who had spent some time there and had lived there for some time. When did I watch the original Rocky film? Probably wasn't until I was a young adult. I doubt,
I think
my,
so.
my parents
Same.
sat
Yeah,
me down.
yeah.
I sat down. I have two daughters. I sat them down way earlier, probably, than I should have, to watch a movie with a lot of blood, if you will.
Yeah.
But I probably was a little older, when I watched it for the first time. But I do remember that the adults in my life really enjoyed it. I mean, I was born in 1974, so it was a pretty contemporary movie for my family growing up. It probably wasn't until I went away to college that I got sort of obsessed with this idea of Rocky being, synonymous with Philadelphia and emblematic of Philadelphia. Probably when I really started to wear my Philly pride when I left Philly for a few years and came back was when I really started to become a champion and advocate for it.
I think I have this similar experience. It was when I was in college when I kind of got introduced to the whole Rocky. It's beyond a trilogy. It's like the Rocky franchise. What's your favorite Rocky movie?
I would say number two, because I love the love story.
Yes, same. It's literally on my script.
I mean, it's like I'm a total romantic,
Yes.
so I love the love story. I don't love Rocky 3. I think it just, it goes a little nutty in Rocky 3. There's some people that love the campiness of Rocky 3. Rocky 4 is a little too stressful for me, with the whole Drago thing. I love Rocky Balboa. I really love that. So I have a lot of very visceral
Interesting.
reactions to the Rocky franchise. I like the Creed movies. Michael B. Jordan. I mean, who can't sit and
Oh
watch them
my
for 3 hours?
God.
And I love the whole Apollo Creed story. I actually met Carl Weathers at an event when I was like 16 years old, so I think he was amazing. And I love that whole storyline. There's just something about the nostalgia of the older films that I really love.
It's so interesting because as Rocky's getting older and his son Bobby is growing up and Bobby, gets picked on at school, it just gets really dark.
It
And
does.
then,
It does.
they've got issues with their house or their mansion. He's trying to figure out how to pay for all of this.
Yeah, he loses everything. Yeah, it does get
Yeah,
a little sad and dark. But again, it's sort of that underdog story, like he's
right,
constantly an
right.
underdog, even though he's had this success. Even in the Creed films, when he's sick, when he has cancer, like
Hmm.
now the fight is about cancer and fighting that, and fighting for his health. So it's really it's that story of struggle and determination, and I think also like reaching a state of grace in some ways too,
Hmm.
and just his relationships with everyone. And to think that Sylvester Stallone wrote this film, right? It's not like he just was the actor that read a great script and was like, okay, I'll do this. He was like a nobody. Like, he was a struggling actor, when he wrote this film, and then fought to get it, filmed and produced, and then he starred in it. Like, we don't recognize that this is a work of art that he created. He's brilliant in that way, in this artistic, talent that he has to bring this story to life. I think it's way beyond what he ever anticipated it to be.
And then he wrote himself as Unc in Creed. And it's a whole nother storyline
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
will just have you in tears at points. And there's another love story and there's
yes.
lots of fighting. And it's just so good.
It is good. It is. It's honestly, Creed took Rocky to a whole new generation.
Yeah.
Because you watch the Creed movies. The Creed movies are incredible,
Yes.
right? Like we said, Michael B. Jordan. There's, I mean, he's one of the biggest movie stars there are. But it makes you say, oh, I want to go back and I want to watch these. I want to watch these again so I can really understand where this came from. But Creed also, the Creed films, they stand on their own.
Right,
They
right.
totally stand on their own, and it's a new story for a new audience. Rocky becomes really relevant again through the Creed stories.
I love seeing a film and seeing like, hey, that's Max's. That's where I'm getting my
Yes,
cheesesteaks from. Or
yes,
there's
yes,
Broad Street. Or,
yes.
there's, the dirt bike. So do you all incorporate the Creed trilogy in the Rocky Fest in any way?
Yeah, not yet. But if you can figure out a way to get Michael B. Jordan here, then yes, we will.
Okay, yeah, let me call him. Let me call him real
That'd
quick.
be amazing.
Michael,
No,
it's Trinae.
yeah, I mean, we dip into the movies with the tours, but everything else is really just around those two central characters of Rocky and Adrian, to be honest.
Gotcha.
I think the Creed movies are a whole other platform. But also, the focal point of Rocky was in those original films. And I think that's sort of the beginning and the end of this, right? That's sort of what we've focused on.
Okay, so earlier in the episode, you talked about that Rocky run. Have you ever did Rocky's run?
No, God, no. My God. I don't even know if I don't know if I've ever driven it. It is so funny. And you know what's really cool is that we're on the tour, on the Rocky tour, we're going to be showing before and after pictures. So people are going to be able to see, like here's what it looked like in the film and here's what it looks like now. You can't even recognize some of these places. And yet some of them are still exactly the same. Like Rocky and Adrian's home is the same. That street looks pretty much the same too. It's so interesting. Mick's Gym is a brewery now. So that's a story of Kensington, right? And the development that's happening in and around Kensington now. So it's interesting to see how the city has changed since the films as well.
The Italian market looks the same
Yeah,
with
it does.
those like the fire
Yeah,
garbage cans.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I was down on 9th and Passyunk at Gino's, and there was a bachelor party, and they were all dressed in gray sweatsuits
Oh, that's amazing.
like
That's
Rocky.
amazing.
They were out of towners, and they were getting cheesesteaks, and it's just I love seeing that kind of stuff around the city.
Yeah, it's wild. It just is so central to folks. When we did Rocky Day last year, I can't tell you how many people came in from all over the world. We met a couple from Argentina who flew in for this, right? A gentleman from Croatia, two brothers from Chicago. One of the brothers was fighting cancer, pancreatic cancer, and his whole theme for his cancer fight was Rocky, like and win, Rocky, win. And his younger brother brought the older brother here as a surprise when he found out about Rocky Day, like on 3 days' notice. He flew the sick brother in so that they could have this experience together. We had two guys that brought their mom up from Texas because their dad, who had passed away, was a huge Rocky fan. So it is amazing to see how it still resonates with people and how deeply personal it is to people and how they use the story to still inspire themselves and lift them up and help them through whatever they're going through, in their lives. It's amazing that the story still inspires people in that way.
Is Rocky fictional? Yes, but we don't care. We love him. Catherine, before you head out, you were the former head of Parks and Rec, so all about city parks. What's the best park in Philly to film an inspirational montage?
Oh my gosh. So what's the inspirational montage? Like what do you think?
If I did my own Rocky run,
Ugh.
but like an updated version, where would I go in the city?
Well, I think you'd have to do the Schuylkill Trail because it has become so iconic.
Absolutely.
And we have like a million people using that trail. The Schuylkill Trail didn't exist 20 years ago. And now it is, just so well used, so beloved by folks. I think, of course, one of my favorite parks is FDR Park. And to run around those lakes at FDR Park, I think would be a really inspirational montage. But I also think out in West Fairmount Park, along those trails, up on the plateau.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a more inspirational sight, like landscape in Philly, than when you are standing at the top of the Belmont Plateau and you look out onto that skyline that has changed so much over the last 50 years, So I think, I think the plateau would be great too. This is like choosing between my children. I can't pick just one site. There's so many places.
I think I would add a run on Broad Street from North Broad, passing like the Divine Lorraine Hotel,
Yep.
taking, that loop around City Hall and heading down South Philly.
Basically the Broad Street run, right?
Yeah,
You're basically
yeah. The Broad Street run.
It's so funny because when you go to the Broad Street run with those 40,000 runners, someone along that route everywhere is playing the Rocky theme,
Absolutely.
And it is absolutely carrying people down that 10-mile run. So I'm with you. I think that would be awesome.
Catherine Lavel, President and CEO of Philadelphia Visitor Center Corporation. Thank you so much for breaking down what Rocky Fest is and for chatting with me on CityCast Philly.
Oh, so good to talk to you, Trinity. Thank you so much.
Dun, 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 dun. Bum, bum. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. I think I got the eye of the tiger in me. If you enjoyed this episode about Rocky Fest, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye. Dun, 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 dun.